One Question is designed to give subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences.
Greetings, this is Ty Brown and welcome to One Question. I'm here at the 2018 NCAA Convention and I'm joined by Devin Crosby. Devin is the Director of Athletics at Lynn University. Greetings, Devin. Thanks for joining us.
Ty, I'm happy to be here.
Devin, you've been there for 2.5 years, and in those 2.5 years, you've made major strides in athletics. You are probably the only Division II with $1 million contract with Adidas. You've had this South Florida showdown that a lot of us have heard about. You've made major strides in student-athlete conduct, and I know a lot of this ties to your unique philosophy on leadership. Can you give us some insight on your approach to leadership?
Absolutely, Ty. You know, I've worked at several institutions in my career, and the one thing I think that's remained consistent in terms of my learning maturation was that strong leadership can set the expectation and literally drive institutions to success. And I come up with this philosophy called the fundamentals of CARE.
Okay.
And basically I've took the word CARE and made it an acronym as well. And the first part of CARE, obviously, is the word C, is I think it's important that you have to cultivate sincere relationships. You know, Ty, we hear about that all the time. And relationships become this overused word, basically. So I always say you have to cultivate sincere relationships where you have a relationship with your coach where you're not just talking about wins and losses. You're actually talking about your coach's family. You're talking about your coach's issues, their problems. You're sharing yourself with that person. Same thing with your senior staff, no different from your vice presidents and your president that you may report to. My president, Dr. Kevin Ross, and I have an amazing, close, sincere relationship. And I'm so thankful for that. So that's the first part on CARE, is the C, is cultivate sincere relationships. The A is for absorb the institutional culture. This is one thing I learned, Ty, is oftentimes an athletics director will get a new job and they want to make a stamp. They would like to make her or his stamp on the institution. Well, I feel that you have to take that time to absorb that institutional culture. So I took one idea from Kevin White, the AD at Duke, when I first got to Lynn, is I actually lived on campus in an apartment with my family for an entire year.
Oh, wow.
Now, not everyone might not have that opportunity to do that, but that was awesome for me because not only was I there from 9 to 5, I was there now at nighttime. I could see how the dining hall operated. I could see when our student athletes were in and out and what they did, their challenges in the fitness center. I could see all these things. And I was able to absorb what was important to Lynn University.
Right.
And I could also absorb the institutional expectations of the president and make sure those were in alignment with
Everything
athletics.
matched, yes, sir.
And that was very, very important for me. The R stands for rest. And here's why I say rest, Ty. I think oftentimes a lot of people in our business, whether you are a 23-year-old new employee that's just graduated or a 48 or 50 or 60-year-old woman or man that's looking to make that next move, everyone's so hyper-focused on networking and making that next job. But we have to learn how to rest. Now, what I'll share with you, my rest happens just to come in my faith in God. I'm not here to preach to anybody, but you got to find something to rest in.
Yeah.
Whether that is your shoe or you have a car collection or you like to ride bikes, whatever that may be. And you have to find rest because that's what's going to help you focus. It's going to help you for your mental health. It's going to help a lot of things when you can retreat to a place and actually rest. And I always demand that our coaches and our senior staff, they find time to rest in something. And then the last part is excellence. And this is excellence in every single thing you do. That means the emails that we type at Lynn. That means how we communicate with people when they come onto campus. That's part of our brand.
Right.
So excellence in every single thing we do that's the last part of CARE. So that's the C for cultivate relationships, A for absorb the institutional culture, R for rest in something that gives you peace, and then E for excellence in everything we do. And we have this thing called design thinking that goes on with that excellence, where we take away and strip away our titles when we have meetings. When I have the head coaches meetings or with our senior staff, I'm not Devin Crosby, the athletics director. I'm just some guy named Devin who happens to have a title that can be stripped away at any moment. But we can actually talk about issues and solve problems through the design thinking theory that gives us this excellence.
Right. Walk us through a meeting using design thinking.
That's a good one, Ty. I'll tell you this. So we have the South Florida Showdown. that's going on right now. It's become a national sensation. The industry, the country has followed this institution, Lynn University, because we're playing these D1 schools all around the country. The South Florida Showdown started through design thinking. We sat down as a senior staff and we had one question. What can we do to advance the national brand of Lynn University?
Okay.
And through design thinking, again, we had no titles. I was stripped away because what often happens is when the AD or the president or the leader of a meeting, whoever's the highest ranking, comes up with an idea, everyone else just follows in. It's almost natural to do that.
The leader has an idea.
Exactly. Where in design thinking, you can never say, no, that can't work.
Right.
So any idea that comes up, you have to say, and what else? And keep adding to it.
Oh, okay.
So we start off by saying, what can we do to give Lynn a national brand? We came with all kinds of crazy ideas. I have pictures of some of the crazy ideas.
Right.
But it evolved into, let's challenge Division I. We got 23 national championships. We can probably beat most Division I institutions. There's 351 of them. We can beat a lot of them. And then it came from just, not only should we play them, we're going to bring them to Lynn University. And now, you know what? We're going to put a game on ESPN. And, on top of that, we're going to tell the world what we're doing.
Right.
And we're going to become a national brand at it. That was all design thinking. And Ty, to add to that, not only did athletics do that, the entire university was into the process. Coming up with the name, what kind of food we'd have at the tailgate parties, the Adidas giveaways, that all came from the institution. So now we have a campus community that's almost bought in to the entire this is not just Devin, the athletics department now. This is a Lynn thing.
Well, it sounds like the ideation process, right? You have ideas. You cannot say these things. That won't work, or we don't see how that can work.
Correct.
It's almost like an improv. You keep the conversation moving forward.
Yes.
So I have an idea, and what else can we add to it? It sounds great, actually.
Absolutely.
And it looks like, from the outside looking in, it's working very well down there at Lynn University.
And Ty, what I'll share with you, and I think this is very, very important, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be the AD to think about design thinking. You could be the assistant director of marketing and have a GA who's under you, and you guys can do design thinking.
Right.
But here's what's most crucial about design thinking, Ty, is the leader must have humility. Because you have to be comfortable with not being in charge.
Right.
You have to be comfortable with it not being your baby.
Right.
And when you have that ability to be comfortable with not being the leader of that room and just being one of many, that's when you can get true ideation and true design thinking.
Was it hard to get the people who work for you or work with you comfortable with you saying, I am not the athletic director here, I'm just a person with an idea at the table? Because that mind state too is hard to change too.
Right, exactly. I think with our senior staff, it's very, very easy. I think it's very organic because of the amount of time we spend together. I sincerely believe, now you'd have to ask them,
right.
I sincerely believe they look at me as Devin.
Right.
He just happens to have the office at the corner, and he happens to have this title. Again, that could be stripped away at any moment, but I always will be Devin and a person of care, but I might not always be the AD. Anything could happen, who knows? But they see me as just another man, and that's what's so, so important. My coaches, I work with them hard to get to that point. I think it took a little bit longer because I don't spend as much intimate time with our coaches as our senior staff. But I believe if you talk to any head coach at Lynn and any senior staff member, they say, yeah, Devin's just a regular guy who just happens to have that title at the end of the office.
Student athletes, are they included in this process?
I'm Uncle Devin to student athletes. I will. And we actually had student athletes involved in the process. They actually picked out the T-shirts we would wear.
Oh, wow.
They picked out how we would promote certain aspects of it. But I really try to serve as an uncle to our 275 student athletes because it gives back that word care. Not only do I care about how successful they are and I care about them having great grades, every AD cares about that. What I care about is that we make them strong men and women who know who they are when they graduate. And that's how we can literally change the world, by having certain people working it out in the industry and they're saying, why is that person so excellent? Why do they care about other people? And why are they such a good person? Oh, that's a Lynn guy. That's a Lynn woman. And that's how we change the world.
Well, I think this is excellent. I think this is something people could possibly use in their organization, whether in sports or not, to find success. Well, Devin, I appreciate you joining us here today on One Question.
Todd, thank you. Had a blast.
That was Devin Crosby. Devin is the Director of Athletics at Lynn University, and this is Ty Brown with One Question. And keep in mind, the role of a leader is to create and maintain an environment that people want to be a part of. And as always, be better tomorrow than you are today. This episode of One Question is produced by Spades Media Group, solving problems using creative leadership.